there and watching a ball go over your head and there's absolutely nothing you could do. And there it was, in the back of the net, a goalkeeper flat-footed. Everything about that goal was beautiful. It was carved out of nothing. Peter Beardsley's pass.
Beardsley
flicked it first time to Hodge.
Superbly done.
Steve Hodge's run, his first time delivery.
Lineker is in the middle.
And then suddenly there's Lineker sneaking in, those ridiculously tight shorts.
Lineker!
Just drifting that ball into the top of the net.
Brilliant!
Fantastic goal.
Beardsley. Superbly done for Hodge. Lineker is in the middle. Lineker! Brilliant!
We've seen and we will see some wonderful moments of finesse from you know, the great players of World Cup history, the Tostaus and the Bergkamps and so on. But I tell you, that pass from Peter Beardsley, that belongs in that class. It's a wonderful reverse pass, cutting pass. Just invites Steve Hodge to cross the ball for Gary Lineker to score a great goal. But Peter Beardsley was the brains of the operation.
Talk about vision, talk about awareness. You know, you talk about sort of, you know, great players seeing pictures and painting pictures in their mind that ordinary mortals can't see. Well, that ball was the absolute epitome of that.
Oh, it's a lovely ball through. Danger here from Stoichkov, who'll get inside the Mexican penalty area. It's a wonderful strike. Terrific goal for Bulgaria from Christos Stoichkov.
I don't ever remember him being that quick. Maybe I'm doing him a disservice. I think the one thing I do know is when he got there with that left foot, he's going to hammer it past the goalkeeper, and as usual, it ends up in the back of the net.
Giannini. The ball pushed up for offside, the Czechs. It actually is in an offside position if it's delivered to him yet. But still, Badger. Oh yes. Oh yes. Oh yes. What a goal by Badger!
He just floats across the ground. There's only one defender who really gets close to getting in a challenge. He just sort of scoots away from him, and then he's running at the rest of the defence, and he's got them completely under his spell. He can go either way. He can decide who he's going to go past. He can decide when and how he's going to score the goal. He's that much in control at that moment.
I remember sitting in the crowd behind the goal. I think it was Bergomi that passed the ball square to Tardelli, and it looked as though he was just losing the ball as it was drifting away from him, and he was almost on the floor as he struck it with his left foot. We had this vibrant celebration. He seemed like a crazed dervish as he ran towards the bench.
It's a good goal, but it's a brilliant celebration, and I think just sums up what football is all about, really.
He was one of those great players who could step up into any position. You know, he played at full-back, but you could have put him in midfield. You could probably have played him up front, and he would have been absolutely at home because he's just so technically gifted and with a great shot on him.
Breitner coming forward. Breitner's shot! Yes! What a beauty!
He was a left back, and here using his right foot with, like, well, whacking a cannonball. Two-footed player, great player. The fantastic thing about the Jairzinho run, a great finish, great goal, but it's the build-up.
Jairzinho, Pele, drops down. Nice little touch off there from Pele. Jairzinho, and he's round Matosas. What will Matosas score here? He scores! Yes!
There's a little flick from Pele just in the centre circle, which sort of gets the whole thing moving, and it's a tiny, tiny touch, but the class of the mark of a genius. Brilliant.
There were fast, athletic players back in 1970. And Jairzinho was one of them. He outruns the defence, almost outmuscles the last defender in order to score the goal.
Jürgen Klinsmann, goal scorer supreme, great volleyer, great timer of shots, twister and turner.
Thomas Hassler, has he got a shooting opportunity? It's a little bit wide. Balls to Klinsmann. Oh, what a goal! Jürgen Klinsmann
with a superb overhead kick. That was class.
You're watching on the goal, it's his movement that's impressive. He lays the ball wide, and then you watch when he gets into the box how he makes himself difficult to mark. He comes away from 4 defenders. When the ball comes, he flicks it up with his right foot, volleys it in with his left foot. It's just an outstanding goal scorer's goal.
Somewhat inevitably on a show like this, the goals come thick and fast. Next, 20 more humdingers, including a Scottish moment of genius, the most famous Brazilian of them all, and an England World Cup winner. Welcome back. The countdown continues from 20 to 6. And at 20, one of the few moments England fans had to cheer at the last World Cup.
You go through this list of 50 goals, and there are many spectacular ones, but actually this one is undoubtedly one of the most eye-catching, just because the dip on the volley is staggering.
Beckham squeezing across here. Crouch is waiting there. So too is Lampard. Good defended by Tobias Linderoth. Joe Cole, why not? Swinging shot, brilliant! Oh, why not? Absolutely fantastic goal from Joe Cole.
We sort of probably talk about these sort of goals as if it should come from Brazilians, South Americans, but here was a good old English lad, Cockney, London lad, performing a great feat on the biggest stage.
The look on Joe's face as he scored that goal, you know, one of those memories that he will live with for the rest of his life. To my dying day, I'll never know how Kubias does this. He scores a goal that looks physically impossible.
Kubilas, number 10, might well be the player to watch here. We shall see. Here he comes. Kubilas drives it in, and it's a goal. Well, Kubilas, brilliant third goal for Peru.
Kubias has hit it with the outside of his right foot. Nobody could even imagine anybody thinking about that, let alone pulling it off so spectacularly.
He ran at such an angle, he thought he's going to have to hit this with the outside of his foot, which is something you didn't see that much at the time. And he hit it with such pace and bend with the outside of his right foot. And again, it was one of those moments where I think as a kid you go outside and you start practicing to try and kick this ball like he does. And, I mean, it's a great skill to have, and it's a super goal.
You think of great Brazilian goals and you think of them scored by forwards or midfielders, but this was a right back.
Josimar. Good effort, oh, and a goal!
A gangly, spider-legged right back whose limbs didn't look as if they should be attached to his body. They had a life of their own. But suddenly he's galloped forward, and it was a fantastic goal.
Argentina were many people's favourites. They had a very fine side. Here was the Argentinians playing this rhythmic, slow build-up, completely dominating the ball for something like 25, 26, 27 passes. The players just rolled the ball around. It was like a rhythmic rhapsody of football. It was wonderful.
The Serbians don't actually touch the ball for something near on 2 minutes. It's just a number of passes, and they're actually trying to either kick the ball, kick the Argentinian players. They just can't get near them. In a way, the move got the finish it deserved. It was one of the great team goals, I think, in World Cup football.
Serbia and Montenegro just simply can't get the ball off them. It's Sorin again. Saviola. Riquelme. Lovely football here by Argentina. That was Cambiasso with Crespo! Cambiasso scores! It was a wonderfully, wonderfully worked goal.
I loved Adair. Everything that he did in that tournament was brilliant, and he had such confidence in his own ability. He could do anything he liked with his left foot, and that volley, you know, after the little dummy, he's flicked it up and just lashed it.
Is Adair? Oh! And Adair, next victory for the Brazilians.
All I can remember is the goalkeeper standing for about 5 seconds after the ball's in the back of the net in exactly the same position. He was one of the great Brazilian players, certainly of that era. Everybody remembers Zico, they remember Socrates, Falcao, but Adair was something special.
was what I call the 3 Ps. It was patience as he waited for the ball, it was precision with the way he connected it, and it was power. I mean, it was past the keeper before he could even move. It was an outstanding strike. The goalkeeper had absolutely no chance.
Headed away by Henriksen, came to Garcia, and then Rodriguez, oh!
Garcia's touch, or his touches, they're almost playful, aren't they? It's almost like a bit of sort of training ground keepy-uppy, and then eventually just sort of lifts it towards Rodriguez and says, go on, son, you know, get your foot through that, have a strike of that.
Holland v Scotland was, I assume in footballing terms, something of a mismatch, you know, the great Dutch sides, but, you know, Archie Gemmill picked this ball up and he was surrounded by white shirts of the Holland defenders.
Nicking the ball at first, a swerve, a body feint, inside, outside, and then all of a sudden he's going into the box faced with the Dutch goalkeeper and placing his shot, clipping his shot with his left foot beyond him to the right-hand side of the goal. Tremendous goal.
And we'll get it now from Gemmill. Gemmill could go all the way, and he's out here. Yes! Beautiful goal, Archie Gemmill. His second goal of the game. And that's as good a goal, I'm sure, as we'll see in the whole of the competition.
To be honest, I'm as much struck by seeing all these fantastic Scottish internationals. You look at the team, Dalglish, Souness, Asa Hartford running over to celebrate. And it really makes you pine for the days when Scotland did produce this sort of football.
Archie Gemmill's memory of that will be a very proud one. It was a very, very fine goal. He was very cool.
It's just an outrageous place to shoot from. I mean, they've got 3 or 4 players rushing into the box waiting for a cross.
Oh, that's a good one!
You don't try that kind of shot unless you know you can score from there and everybody else in the team knows you can score from there. Your instincts tell you that it must have been deflected, but I've watched it a few times now and I can't see a deflection. I think that all the bend is Nolino's bend. I don't think it touches anything between the outside of his little toe and the inside of the post. Bobby Charlton, left-footed or right-footed?
Couldn't tell whether he's left or right-footed. He could go either way, and it's a great skill to have.
I guess the answer is with the foot that he carries the ball from inside his own half at great pace, his left foot. But then that just makes the shot with the right foot all the more special, doesn't it?
He's taken the ball from his own half, he's taken it at pace.
Switched it from his left foot to his right foot, and he hit this wonderful right-footed thunderbolt.
It was a magnificent goal.
When you see him hit this ball, look at his technique. Both feet off the ground. Wonderful shot.
As impressive as the goal is, I was also impressed with the way that he jumps, goes down, bends his knees and stands up. And I'm looking at that thinking, God, that should certainly hurt your knees. But he was obviously not only a great player, but an outstanding athlete as well.
Bobby Charlton scored some magnificent goals in his time, but if you were to ask him, he would probably put that as his number one. Socrates was this masterful player, so elegant. You know, he used to strut around. You never saw him, even in those temperatures. He didn't look as if he was going to ever break sweat. He strolled around, and then he could just pull moments of pure magic out of the hat.
He was just a wonderful physique, and he had a real presence. And you see how he skips past a couple of tackles and smashes a ball in.
Moment's hesitation there. Owen still not clear as Besanov didn't quite connect. It's come straight out to Socrates. Socrates still trying to get the opening. Oh, Socrates! Whoa! What a goal!
He took the ball. You thought, what's he going to do? Is he going to play it out right, out left? He can do anything he likes. He stepped inside, right foot, top corner. Goalkeeper didn't smell it. Brazil scored probably 5 or 6 of the greatest goals that you'll ever see in a tournament. You know, I remember thinking, you know, this is the way you want to see football played.
It's a dramatic goal because it means so much. It's the last minute of extra time. It puts England into the quarter-finals of the World Cup. A split second before he scores the goal, David Platt is facing his own goal. He's outside the width of the Belgian goal, and the ball